up, Star Wars bitches? We are coming at you live from Celebration, from the podcast stage in Chicago at McCormick Place Convention Center. It's amazing. The chemistry is electric. And I'm totally fucking with you. We're in our hotel room right now. No, we're not live. We were at Celebration. Didn't think I had enough to actually set up a booth. Point is, we were there. We were there for 2 days. So we've got a lot to talk about. We're gonna split it up into a couple episodes. Day 1, day 2. We're not gonna dive into the trailer too much. You'll have to check out our trailer discussion breakdown episode to hear a little bit more about that.
A couple days, hopefully.
Yeah, for sure.
We'll touch on it, but we'll
follow shortly.
We'll go full into it.
Yeah.
So right now, like we said, we're in Chicago. We were here for day 1 and day 2. That's Friday and Saturday.
Well, technically day 2 and day 3.
Well, I know, but we still have I don't know. It was more like a day 0.
I guess. Yeah.
But either way, we're here for Friday and Saturday, and there was a lot going on. And I mean, like we said in our precursor episode to Star Wars Celebration, we have been wanting to do this for a long time, and it was every bit worth everything that it was everything I could have imagined it would be,
and more, really. So let's just dive right into day 1.
Yeah,
man. First things first. Let's talk about episode 9 panel.
Yeah. Well, so if anybody's never been, well, I guess not all celebrations are the same. This one is in Chicago. They've had them in many cities: Anaheim, Indianapolis, Orlando, overseas a few times. And from what I can tell, they do a lot of panels, right? And these panels are specific topics. And we were lucky enough to be chosen in the lottery for the episode 9 reveal.
And again, something we've already talked about. This is the first year that they did a lottery. Before it was just you had to stand in line, you had to get there, butt ass crack of dawn to get in to the panel at all. This was different. I can't imagine having to stand in line that early in the freezing cold Chicago weather. I'm really glad they did this lottery thing.
Especially
it was
since
super
you forgot
convenient.
your shoes and had to wear flip-flops all weekend.
That was a little unfortunate, but thankfully we weren't outside that much, so it didn't really matter. The lottery system was awesome. I thought it worked
in our
really
favor.
well.
Somewhat, because we were able to get into the panels. We didn't get any of the exhibitor exclusives, but I wasn't too disappointed about that.
And I think exclusive is a very loose term.
That's very
here,
true.
man.
At least the Hasbro exclusives weren't. I mean, well, okay. They had exhibitor exclusives and they had panel exclusives. Panels where you would get into the panel, and exhibitor exclusives you could get access to what they were saying were exclusive collectible items, only retrievable through Celebration. Right? There was Funko, which to do the pops. There were Hasbro. I believe there was one other one that I don't really remember, and I didn't really care that much about.
But from everything I could see, as far as the exclusives went, they didn't really look like, at least the Hasbro stuff.
Yeah, I think so.
All that stuff
Funko
I've seen
stuff
before.
Apparently is selling like hotcakes on eBay for a lot more money. So
that doesn't
might have been
surprise me.
But either way, we got into the episode 9 panel, and it was amazing. That was the first thing we did. We went straight to Wintrust Arena, and which is where it was. It was in what was called Celebration Stage, and they had a bunch of different stages. 6,000 to 7,000 capacity stadium. I think that's where DePaul University plays basketball.
Right. And there was a bunch of different stages. This is obviously was the largest one,
the biggest one, and it was one of the best experiences I've had in a long time, probably ever. Honestly, it was amazing.
It was really great. It met and for the most part exceeded all of my expectations. The only thing that was a little disappointing is I really wanted Mark Hamill to be there. I was hoping he was going to show up. He did not, which is fine. It's okay. Aside from Mark Hamill not being there, everything else was great. We got to see all of the major cast, including one newcomer. I can't remember her character.
Naomi something?
Name.
I don't remember the character. I think Naomi is her.
Is the actress's name?
Actress's name.
I can't remember her character. I think popular opinion right now is that she's related to Lando in some way, but I guess we'll see.
I mean, which is only because she's black. Like, do we have to ask that question about everybody? Although her answer to the question was pretty spectacular, saying he's Probably has children all over the galaxy. So who knows?
Very, very Lando. Speaking of Lando, Billy D. Williams was
That was
there. He had I don't remember what the question was, but he had a great. Oh, I think. Well, first let's back up. The host for the panel was a surprise, at least for me. I don't know if anybody else knew it was coming, but Stephen Colbert was the
very
host.
shocked that he was coming out.
Had no idea that was going to happen, which was awesome. And he asked Billy D. Williams a question, something along the lines of, "Was it hard to get back into Lando? Did you have to get back into the character?" And he was like, "Lando never left me. He's always been there." It was great. It was such a very Lando thing to say.
Who else was on stage? There was J.J. Abrams,
Kathleen Kennedy, Daisy
John
Ridley.
Boyega, obviously.
Daisy Ridley.
We did miss Adam Driver. I was very disappointed to not see Adam.
Adam
Driver.
was not there. Yeah, that was weird that he wasn't there for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Oscar Isaac
had other responsibilities, I guess. But
I guess Oscar Isaac was there. The guy who plays Chewbacca, I can't remember the new guy.
It's a foreign name.
I think it's a Russian.
Yeah,
is it Russian or German or something like that? Yeah.
Kelly Marie Tran. That was another thing. I think so. Day one was filled with a lot of cool things. One of the coolest things I think was the outpour of love that everybody had for Kelly. Tran. Like
there was so much love.
There was a lot of applause for J.J. Abrams. There was a lot of applause for the two of the big three. Well, all three of the big three, right? Daisy Ridley, John Boyega, and Oscar Isaac. Mm-hmm. And there was a lot of. I would expect them to get the most, right?
It was Kelly by far.
By far. Everybody, I think
everyone stood up. Everyone stood and was chanting her name.
Chanting Kelly. Like it was. She literally was crying on stage. She was crying later on. It was something I think was definitely needed because she quit Twitter because of the
horrific things that people were saying about her.
Dumb.
Like, it was so amazing to see the love
towards Ryan
for
Johnson,
Carrie.
not towards Kelly Marie Tran. Just kidding.
Yeah.
Don't do that to anybody.
No, you can do it towards Ryan Johnson. Fuck that guy. It was really amazing to see the outstanding love for Kelly. The response was absolutely fantastic. So we got to hear about the movie. Again, don't want to go into it too much. We'll be divulging that in a later episode. But I do want to say that the trailer, I still have like goosebumps every time I think about it. It was great. It far exceeded my expectations.
You did say in the precursor episode that you wanted something that captured you and really left you wanting more, and like
I wanted an amazing moment that didn't give away too much, but left me with a shock on my face. We definitely absolutely got that. Again, we're not going to go into it.
Not too much, but I think we should go into what happened at the panel, right?
Sure.
Everybody has seen the trailer. If you haven't, spoilers, because I know some people are sensitive to that sort of thing. But at the end of the trailer, we got.
So let's lead up to it a little bit, right? Yeah. So throughout the trailer, you can hear Luke's voice. He's talking to Rey, presumably, right? He's saying all these different things. And right before the trailer cuts to black and we see the title, you hear Luke say something like, "No one's ever really gone."
And also on screen before that, we do see Rey and Poe, I believe.
Poe and
looking
Finn
into what looks like
an ocean.
An ocean with what, to me, and I think to most people, looked like the circular dish of the probably be the second Death Star.
Yeah, the remains of what was left of the Death Star, right?
Which I would imagine would be the second Death Star, right?
Given what happened next, I would assume it would be the second Death Star. Yeah. So that happens, right? Cuts to black, and then you hear the very distinctive laugh of Emperor Palpatine, which blew everybody away. Chills. Except for you, because you thought it was Snoke.
Well, okay, I got chills when I saw what happened next. Okay? I was like, oh, yeah, that's cool. I thought it was Snoke.
So that happened, right?
Only because I wouldn't have possibly even thought that it
would Palpatine. Why, after all these years...
Definitely is his laugh.
You go back and really listen to it, clearly Palpatine's laugh. And we really know that it's Palpatine laugh, because as soon as this... so trailer ends, cuts to the title. We now know the title is The Rise of Skywalker. again, we'll dig into the details on the what that means a little bit later in a later episode. But after that, trailer ends and the lights come up on the stage, and who walks out but Ian McDiarmid, the actor who plays Palpatine. Everyone goes crazy. He pulls the mic up to his...
He had to stop and pull the mic back down because of how crazy
times.
People were going. He was like ready to do what he was supposed to do, and then
people just keep screaming, and he was... Yeah. So, and in his best Palpatine voice, he says, "Roll it again."
And then essentially dropped the mic.
And then pretty much dropped the mic, walked off stage, and we watched the trailer again.
And it was probably the best moment. Probably the best thing that ever happened to me. I saw Ian McDiarmid in person. My favorite character is Palpatine.
Getting goosebumps right now just talking about it.
It was awesome. It was one of the coolest things. Crazy. I had no idea. We were flipping out. It was absolutely insane.
It was unbelievably amazing. And so they went into a lot of the details of the movie, right? Not a lot of the details, but gave us a general idea of like where they were shooting. And Anthony Daniels also was up on stage. I forgot about Anthony Daniels, which he was just a trip.
He's funny
to watch
hell,
on stage, man. He's entertaining.
Every time, him and
he's
Warwick
hilarious.
Davis. Like Warwick Davis was fucking hilarious.
Warwick
Davis actually right before the panel started, he kind of warmed up the audience a little bit. He came out on stage, walked around the
came out
audience
into the
a little
audience,
bit,
yeah.
Gave autograph. Well, I don't think he gave autographs, but he
did autograph
questions.
Somebody's
right.
Wicket
that's
bobblehead thing
and
or whatever.
He knows how to work the mic, and he knows him and Anthony Daniels both were experts at that.
Very, very witty, very clever, like very on point.
The dude who played Chewbacca was kind of the opposite of that.
Yeah, he was kind of horrible to listen to.
He was kind of awkward. Like it was like he was
super awkward.
Don't get me wrong. That picture of him holding his baby in his Chewbacca gear on set was adorable, and that's like a great moment. But like I felt like he milked it a little bit too much. Like they brought it back up like twice. I don't know. It was weird.
He was a little awkward to listen to.
Yeah, so what else was the panel? We had...
there's really not, without going into a lot of details about the trailer and what the movie is there really was not a lot else to talk about.
If you haven't watched it, we will link... I don't know if we can. I haven't looked on YouTube yet, but if they put those panels up yet, like just as standalone videos, if they do, we'll look for them and put them in the show notes.
I feel like
definitely worth watching because there was a lot of information there. You probably already read about all the information. But one of the things why I would say you should watch it is because of Stephen Colbert as the guest host, right? He was very funny. He himself is
a huge
Star Wars nerd.
Huge Star Wars fan.
And that's, I think he definitely shows that in the way he's asking these questions. I think at one point, like, he asked a question and J.J. Abrams asked him, like, what are you doing? He's like, well, I'm not your agent. I'm their agent because I'm one of them.
I'm here for the audience.
So like that was funny. And then
John Boyega is also really funny too.
Yeah, there was a lot of
listening to him is great.
I'm starting to believe that him and Oscar Isaac might be like they might have something going on in real life. Too. And maybe even Oscar Isaac or Poe Dameron and Finn.
And Finn might have some sort of homosexual relationship. You definitely get those vibes. They've got great camaraderie.
Yeah, so that was the panel. With this celebration, the big panel, the celebration stage, was in the arena that we talked about, and that was kind of off, like across the street from the main,
separate from the rest of the building,
from the main building,
right?
And like, man,
that was the only
6,000.
one we went to in the arena that day, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we didn't stay.
And we actually didn't go to any more panels that day. I don't think
we didn't. We walked right back, and we followed with the rest of the 7,000 people walking across the street, and the main entrance was just crowded.
Oh, it was packed.
Too crazy. And
so we said, "Fuck that."
We lucked out actually because
walked to the bus entrance,
which is also the VIP entrance, which we don't have, but they just let us go in, so that was cool.
They did.
We skipped.
They did.
We saved probably 45 minutes.
Oh my gosh, yeah, at least. They let us in on Friday. Saturday, we didn't have much luck, but that was really the only panel we attended. Well, I guess you could say it's the only panel we attended. We did catch a lot of the live.
So
Star
after
Wars
the panel,
show.
we spent a bunch of time walking the floor, right?
And the exhibitor hall.
The exhibitor hall and the floor, like that was to me the best. Well, not I don't know if it was the best part, but it was amazing to be there.
I thought it was the best part. I mean, that's where all of the excitement was. That's where everybody was. That's where all the people who are in costumes are walking around. That's where all of the
costumes,
the vendors, where all of the they had all kinds of experiences you could line up to wait in line to do. They had like a little preview of Galaxy's Edge. You could wait in line and like walk through and do a couple of interactive things. The exhibitor hall was my favorite part of the
I think also
of the space that they had laid out
even
there.
though there were lines and it took forever to do a lot of stuff.
So many lines.
A lot, like, and it's kind of cliche, I guess, to say it like this, but like just the energy there, like there was just barely. I didn't see much of any negativity there. Like
No,
everyone
really.
was happy to be there. Everybody is. You just talk to a random stranger, and they're just the most cheerful people. And I don't know, just the entire thing felt surreal because it was just like you're around all these Star Wars fans that are there to waste as much money as you and to see all this crazy Star Wars stuff that you can't see anywhere else. And it was absolutely the greatest feeling to be there.
It was amazing. It everybody forgets about everything else, and the only thing that there is on their mind is how much they love Star Wars, and you can feel it. You can hear it, you can feel it. It's everywhere. So the exhibitor hall was where we spent most of our time, right? Walking around,
Both
looking
days,
at all
really.
both days, yeah. Walking around, looking at the collectibles, spending money. I haven't calculated the total, but hopefully it's not too much.
I'm just not
just looking. That's probably a better idea. Looking at all of the people who are in cosplay was just so enjoyable. We got so many pictures of so many great costumes. Like wow, like the amount of money and time that some of these people put into these costumes is unreal. We saw so many cool things.
I don't even know what my favorite would be. Like
there's a couple that stick out of my mind. One of them was Darth Malgus. I only saw one Darth Malgus, and it was legit. He even had like colored contacts to make his eyes like red and yellow, and he had makeup around his face to make him look all like red, and everything looked custom built. That was really cool. Darth, whatever you want to call him, Darth Shredder.
oh my gosh, the Shredder. So a person was. It wasn't.
It was like a cross between Shredder armor and Mandalorian armor.
But he had
a
lightsaber.
purple lightsaber.
And it was the coolest thing. Like that. I think that was my favorite. And we're definitely. I want to post some of these photos online on social media.
Yeah,
Facebook,
yeah.
Twitter,
We'll be posting these
RotKast.
on our social media
but yeah,
for sure. But
the Shredder one. I don't even have a funny pun to say about it. But the Shredder Mandalorian cosplay was definitely one of the most unique.
Shreddalorian. Manda Shredder. I don't know. There's something.
Boba Shredder.
There's something there.
Shredder Fett.
Shredder. No.
That
was one that stood out to me, for sure. But I mean, there were so many. It's amazing just to walk around and kind of be immersed.
Yes, and so I think one of the things that we missed out on, and I'm not that upset about really, but one section of the floor we didn't really interact with at all, other than trying to catch a glimpse, was the autograph and like that section.
Yeah,
right?
Yeah, they had like the whole like back corner was autographs and then like photo ops.
Yeah,
you go back and get autographs with people, and but they didn't really have. You couldn't see any of them, like behind curtains.
Yeah.
Purposefully, so that you couldn't just walk by and like snap pictures of them. You had to pay money and wait in line to actually see them, and it was an exorbitant amount of money just to get signed. I don't know. Maybe
I don't know if like this was just because I just happened to come across people who did this, but if I had to pick one now, I mean, it would probably still be Palpatine. But after that, it would probably be Ray Park, because I came across several people who had done autographs and photo sessions with him, and they just talked about how amazingly funny and cool this dude was. Just like he interacted with you as if you were just, one of his friends.
Yeah.
Like you weren't just a complete stranger that were paying him to sign a piece of paper.
I think the next celebration we go to, I'm going to do more of that kind of thing and less of buying toys, which is pretty much what I did this time. I'm still gonna
not
buy
gonna do
toys.
That.
You're
know that's
right.
wrong.
You're right.
You're lying to yourself. And
I'll
you
spend
know that Sarah
less.
doesn't listen to this, so you're not lying to her. You're just lying to yourself.
She listens. I hope she does.
Doesn't listen.
I'm gonna spend less. Well, that's probably really not true either. I'm gonna spend more money the next time I go. Either way, I'm a little sad that we didn't try to do some of that stuff.
But speaking of spending
but
money,
there was all kinds of those are two of them, Ray Park and Ian McDermott. But so many people. Hayden Christensen was there.
They even had
Jason Isaacs,
George Lucas's son, Jet Lucas,
Paul Bettany. Yeah, there's tons of them there.
But speaking of spending money, we talked already about the exhibitor floor, but I don't think we dove into enough detail about this because this was just insane. So the way that they had different exhibitors, right? In some big name, they had like Wilson basketballs, which I didn't get one, unfortunately. They had, Hasbro, Lego, but they also had kind of lesser known things, but still really cool things. Like one of the cool things was Enovos, I think it was the name of the company, but they made those like high end armor. Like it was one of the first things we came across, and it was like, oh, this Poe Dameron helmet's $650.
Oh yeah.
Oh, but this Ray belt is $85. I could afford the belt.
It was like at the entrance of the exhibitor hall was all the really higher end stuff that costs
and then they
just
had
ridiculous amounts of money
of essentially collectors, people who collect just toys. They're not businesses, I don't think. Some may be businesses, but they're just people who had fancy toys.
I felt like a lot of them were people who owned like smaller toy shops.
Yeah, like something like Big Fun,
mom and pop. Right.
So collectible stores, right?
Right, and there was tons of those everywhere.
And, a lot of them were similar, where they had like a shitload of Black Series toys and a bunch of FX lightsabers, or a bunch of 1970s action figures in little baggies or whatever. But each one kind of had its own kind of theme. And each one was, I think we went to each one of them twice probably throughout both days, right? Like
I think we walked around that entire hall several times because there were different stands from Friday to Saturday. I thought it would be mostly the same stuff, but it some of it was. But there was a lot of other stuff that was new and some things that weren't there anymore. But the one stand that's one of the ones that stood out to me was these guys who made custom masks.
Yeah, I don't know if were they 3D printed, but they were like higher quality than 3D print.
Yeah, they were higher quality than 3D print. Maybe it was like a combination of 3D printing and
high quality
something.
3D printer.
Maybe they.
They recouped their cost probably. That's for sure.
Some of these things were incredible, and if I had more money, I absolutely would have bought them. The Bane mask that he wears eventually to keep the obelisk from like taking over his face was insane. Insanely expensive, but like amazingly cool. They also sold some custom sabers, and it wasn't just Star Wars masks either.
What was the species of General Grievous?
Kalish.
Kalish, yeah, they had like a mask of them.
Yep. Kalish battle armor
all types of masks. And like you said, not just Star Wars.
They had Mortal Kombat that we saw, like the little mouth masks for like Scorpion and Sub-Zero.
I want to say Rain.
Ermac was the red ninja, I think. I hope. Anyway, that vendor was really cool, and again, all of these were like mom and pop shops, or like people who like work out of their basement or something like that,
So with the exhibitor floor, we kind of lucked into a scenario where we were getting beer, right? As we do.
Yeah.
Cheers.
Cheers, man.
So we were getting beer, and we just left the beer line with our glasses, and we heard some cheering, and there was cheering going on every once in a while, and we saw a large crowd rush to the center stage where, like Sean, you mentioned this earlier, and there was Star Wars Live.
And I guess we really didn't say that. In the middle of the exhibitor hall was a smaller stage.
Mm-hmm. Yes, and a bunch of people were rushing there, and they were doing things pretty much throughout the entire day, both days, that were, you know, just random interviews or something like that, but not interviews with major people until this point where someone ran past us and it was shouting like Daisy Ridley's on stage, and we're like, oh shit. So
and at this point it was it's the Star Wars show, which is
Yes.
a show that's on YouTube. They were doing it live from Celebration, and like you said, we heard loud screams and saw crowds of people rushing towards the stage, and we're like, oh shit, what's going on? So happened it was Daisy Ridley and Kathleen Kennedy came out on stage. No one was expecting them to be out, at least on that stage. And we got decently close.
So
Not
with that one, I felt
close.
like I don't know. I have like a collage that I made of the different photos where it's like clear that we got progressively like closer and closer each time. So with that one, we were kind of behind the camera crew. Someone told me that on the other side there was a lot more room, and she wanted to get by because of that. And I didn't follow her. I just, you know, let her go by. And I wish I would have, because I would have been a lot closer to Kathleen Kennedy and Daisy Ridley. And that was a surprise. You know, they left the stage. Well, so first of all, they were also doing, each person did cannon guns. They shot, you know, shirts.
The t-shirt, like they would do their interview.
Cannon guns, t-shirt guns.
And then they did the t-shirt cannons, and they would, yeah.
So then after Kathleen Kennedy and Daisy Ridley went off stage, they, you know, we were like, oh, okay, that must be it. I mean, we'd never been here before. We didn't know kind of what's going on. And a lot of people were leaving. So we, again, left. And then we heard cheering again. And it was, I believe this time was John Boyega
came out next.
Yeah.
And we got a little bit closer.
Up around the front where that lady had said, and was closer. And then, and he was, John Boyega is just in person, is one of the, like,
seems like one of the coolest dudes.
He genuinely feels like someone who was a Star Wars fan before that is in it now. Like something that if I were in the movies, I feel like I would talk like he does, the way he talks about stuff. And it's
he even said like, "Oh man, this is so exciting! I want to get out there and walk the floor with the rest of you guys."
He never did, unfortunately.
Well, you don't know. He might have, and we just didn't. Maybe he was undercover. Maybe he was in one of those stormtrooper costumes, dude.
Actually, they do that with stuff. I don't know if they do that. People, like, there's videos.
Comic-Con, it happens all the time at Comic-Con where people like dress up and it's actually celebrities.
But anyway, so and then he left, and they in between each interview they had something else, right? It's not like somebody else would come up on stage that's not a host of the Star Wars show and would talk briefly, and then they would bring someone back on stage. And the next one, I believe, was Oscar Isaac and the Naomi. I wish I can remember.
I can't remember. Yeah, I can't remember the actress's name.
But each time one of them left, a lot of people would leave the stage.
No, it wasn't Oscar. It next after that was Kelly Marie Chan and J.J. Abrams came out.
Correct. So John Boyega left, and a lot of the fans left. So we just kept inching closer.
We just kept, because every time someone would walk off, some people would leave, but we're like, yeah, we're not going anywhere. Just kept getting closer and closer and closer and closer. And they essentially brought out the entire panel that was there for episode 9. They just brought them out again in a more like a smaller, more intimate setting. Brought Anthony Daniels was.
I honestly thought he might have been drunk.
One of my favorites. He was so entertaining to like listen to.
The story
and to watch.
that he had about his book, which was funny. I think we should at least briefly mention.
Yeah. So during the episode 9 panel, Anthony Daniels was talking about he's had a book that just got announced, and I don't know the actual title because we didn't.
Ooh, that was today.
That did get announced today. Don't know what it is. Probably should look that up beforehand. But he made this big deal about how originally he had his own title. It's his memoirs, basically about his journey through Star Wars and his life and all that stuff. And he had a title that he wanted to call it, and his publishers basically said, "No, that's dumb. No one will get it. They're too dumb."
It was more that like yes, Star Wars fans will get it, but this book will be more broad than just the standard Star Wars nerd. Essentially,
is basically what they're saying. Right.
So we can't have this title that no one understands.
That no one gets. So then he goes on to say, all right, I'm going to tell you my original title that I wanted, and if you get it, everyone cheer. If you don't get it, then everyone boo. So he tells us the title, and the title was Telling the Odds. And the whole stadium, the whole arena erupted and was like cheering and screaming. and
rightfully so, because that's a perfect fucking title.
That's a great title.
Because it's memoirs of his time on set as the only person really in all 9 episodes, right?
Yeah. He was the only one who was in every single one of the 9 episodes throughout the whole entire saga. And it's a great title. And everyone erupted and cheered. And Anthony Daniels' reaction was priceless. And everyone was laughing. That was hilarious.
That was a highlight for sure.
But he was also really funny and very entertaining to watch in the stage in the exhibitor hall on the Star Wars show.
And again, they also brought out Warwick Davis, and he was also another one that was extremely funny, even like more closely in the center stage.
And they tried to stump him when they were doing the Star Wars show in the exhibitor hall by asking him to name every single character that he's played in all of the Star Wars movies he's been in,
and he
which
nailed
is
that
a
shit,
ton.
dude.
He
Which
nailed
I didn't know was that
every
many.
single
Holy shit.
one. He knew every single character, every name of every character he played. Not even I don't remember the guy's Anthony. Is it Anthony on the Star Wars show?
Yes, Anthony and Andy.
Or is it
the people?
Yes, it is. Or Andrew.
And Anthony. I think it's Anthony. Either way, the
well,
guy.
whatever. The guy who was interviewing him, he didn't even know some of them. Warwick was on it, man. He knew every name of every character that he's ever been, and I didn't realize he had played
that many
characters in Star Wars.
Also, real quick, rewind back to Anthony Daniels, the guy from the Star Wars show. I think it's Anthony.
I say Anthony or Andrew.
Either way, he was interviewing Anthony.
It's
Daniels.
Andrew. It's Andrew.
Anthony and
it's not. It wasn't Anthony and Anthony. It's Andrew.
Yeah.
I think
Either way, the guy was interviewing Anthony Daniels, and he was like Anthony Daniels was being so grandiose with his fucking the way he was talking and like standing up and like being dramatic with everything he was saying, which is why I thought he was kind of drunk.
And he was basically taking over the interview. Like it was just pretty much him talking the whole entire time.
Exactly. So the host of the Star Wars show essentially sat there and just ripped up his card and threw it down and just set the mic down like as a joke. And it was pretty fun.
And then what else did he say? What did he? Again, Anthony was talking about his book, and his publishers came to him and he said, "Okay, we want you to write 10,000 words or whatever, 40,000 words." And then he said yes, and they're like, "Actually, we want you to write 70,000 words." And he's like, "And I officially have stopped at 75,000 words." And then the Star Wars show interviewer, Andrew, I think his name is, was like, how did they get you to stop at 75?
It was such a, it was so quick-witted and you could tell he knew that was such a good one too. The way he fucking just burst out laughing as soon as he said it. That was fun.
If you have a chance, I'm sure you can find it online. Check out the Star Wars show live from Celebration. It was a treat.
So I think that was, again, I don't know what is the biggest highlight of day one for me. If it's being there and seeing the trailer in person, which was great because we got that cool selfie of us with like the Rise of Skywalker in the background, and that's definitely one of my favorite photos so far.
Yeah,
probably gonna be profile picture.
Oh, I know something. Apparently, we weren't there early enough, but there were people lining outside of Winchester Arena since like 6 or 7 a.m. And apparently, J.J. Abrams showed up with just shitloads of McDonald's and gave free McDonald's to everybody. So much McDonald's that by the time we got there, they were still passing out McDonald's to everybody who walked through the line, which
was received from me. I really appreciate.
Wow, that's awesome. And then we also got free Episode 9 beanies.
The free walking through Episode 9 beanies are one of my favorite handouts that we got.
We got a lot of free handouts. That was one of the
coolest
ones
really the only free handout we got on day one though. They didn't really do much else that I received anyway.
Not that I can remember. Yeah, most of the free stuff we got was the second day we were there on Saturday. But the beanie was super sweet.
Yeah, so highlight of day one, to me, I think it was just being so up close and being there for the Episode 9 cast and crew on the center stage for Star Wars Live, the Star Wars show live. That was
super
awesome.
So cool, man. That was super awesome. I don't disagree with you, but I mean, seeing the Episode 9 trailer and then having Ian McDermott come out and then realizing that,
I forgot about Ian. There's just so much that's going on.
And then realizing Palpatine's that for me was just unbelievable. I still can't stop thinking about it.
Day one was amazing, and we have a lot more to talk about with day two, which we just finished up. and I think we have a lot of content coming out in the next couple of days.
We have lots of juicy stuff, man. What else? What else about day one before we wrap this up? I mean, we bought a couple of things. I got some really cool action figures that I'm really excited about that I didn't know existed. What about you? Did you buy anything day one?
Day one, I did not buy anything other than probably coolest pint glass that we will ever have.
Oh, the pint glasses.
So we both bought these. They were. I wish we would have went over that area again to see. I don't think he was there today.
No, because we walked pretty much everywhere.
We did,
and I didn't see.
And it's a pint glass with Obi-Wan Kenobi, old Obi-Wan,
Alec Guinness,
and it's a Guinness pint glass.
It's a Guinness pint glass. It's a Alec Guinness pint glass. They're the coolest thing. I could not.
They had a couple other ones. They had what was it? Samuel L. Jackson. It was a Sam Jackson shirt about Sam Adams beer.
I don't remember seeing.
They also had it was a Game of Thrones one.
It was a Game of Thrones. It was weird to me because I think it was supposed to be House Greyjoy, which is the Kraken, but the colors were wrong. The colors made it seem like it was trying to be House Targaryen's sigil. Either way, I think it was supposed to be the Kraken, but it was Admiral Akbar's face and then the tentacles,
which was awesome.
Which was a sweet shirt.
So I think day one, that was my best purchase for sure.
The glass.
Yeah, it's just it's genius to me.
Mine was definitely. I'm a huge General Grievous fan, and I'm also a big collector of the Black Series. I think I want to say they're like 1/16th scale. I don't know, like the slightly bigger ones. Mm-hmm. Maybe not 1/16th, but they have a General Grievous action figure of that now. Didn't know that was a thing. It might be brand new.
Pretty cool one too.
Yeah, it was super
with, like,
sweet.
Multiple lightsabers on the side there.
Yeah. He had the lightsabers. He had the blaster that he eventually gets shot with.
Which, speaking of that, we did see a cool action figure that I'd never seen before about General Grievous, and it was his.
It's like General Grievous dying.
Yeah, and like there's fire coming out of his face, fire coming out of his chest. It was pretty funny.
Yeah, never saw it. Didn't know that existed either.
Ooh, another one that we saw, like one of the cooler collectible items I think that we saw. Was one thing that you had a long time ago were the Revan and Malak kind of 4-inch action figures.
Yeah, it was the
standard action figures that you see.
30th anniversary action figure set. They had a whole line of them that came out.
And they had a Revan and Malak. You had that. You sold it off. You got another copy of those recently.
I've reacquired them over the years.
Super jealous about that. So they had those there, and they just the Revan was more than what you paid for
both of them,
right?
Yeah, I got lucky.
And what they also had, and this is the crazy thing that I never knew existed, was a Bast Lashan action figure, which was awesome. Like the fact that it was like I think $120.
Yeah,
I didn't really want to chalk that up, but
it was ridiculous.
I do regret not doing that because even the guy there, well, he's just trying to sell it too, but he did say he's only ever had 2 of those that he sold.
Curious to see if we can find them online and how much they're really going for.
Well,
but that was super cool.
Yeah.
Only saw one of those throughout the whole entire time we were there, but that was pretty sweet. What else, man?
Yeah, I think that wraps up. So, another thing about Celebration that we haven't talked about is that they did have a Celebration store, right? And the store had kind of unique items dedicated to Star Wars Celebration 2019.
There were items you could only get in that store. You couldn't get them on the rest of the floor.
However, we did not go into the Celebration store day one because the line was gigantic. It would have taken 2-3 hours. I think we were talking to people that they literally waited in line day one for 3 hours.
Extraordinarily far too long.
We didn't go in there. We'll touch base a little bit about that in episode, the next episode about Celebration, because we did go to the Celebration store, and it was worth the wait. It wasn't as long, but it was worth the wait.
Lots more to talk about as far as day 2 goes in an upcoming episode. Day 1, though.
Day 1 was everything that I imagined it would be and more. There was, it could have been a little bit more, well prepared. But from what I've heard from people that have been to multiple celebrations, despite the fact that there were some problems with this, that this was the best run celebration yet. And I'm excited about how they're going to improve kind of going forward with the next couple of celebrations.
Me too, man. Me too. I hope it just keeps getting better, but I have no doubt that it will.
All right, so I think that sums up this episode. If you guys have any questions, hit us up on Twitter at RotKast, ROTKAST, and
Twitter, Instagram, Facebook.
Yes, I feel like we were a lot more active in the last couple of days because of the events. Speaking of Twitter, yesterday I did have something cool. Daniel Logan, official Daniel Logan, liked one of our posts on Instagram, which is, doesn't do anything for us other than being able to brag about it.
We kind of had a freak out moment.
I was like, oh my God, Daniel Logan. There's a check mark next to his name. It's actually him.
For those of you who don't know who Daniel Logan is, he played young Boba Fett in episode 2, Attack of the Clones. Which was fantastic.
I think that pretty much sums it up. I guess we'll hit you guys on the next one.
Later.